From The National, this is Trending Middle East. I'm Yasmin Al-Taji. It's Thursday, April 3rd. Here are today's headlines. Israel is expanding its operations in Gaza. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz warned large areas of the enclave will be seized and added to Israel's security zones. Katz said that would include large-scale evictions of people from areas where fighting was taking place. He urged Gazans to eliminate Hamas and return Israeli hostages as the only way to end the war. This comes after the breakdown of the ceasefire agreement that took effect in January. It saw several prisoner and hostage exchanges over its course, and it was supposed to lay out a path to a permanent ceasefire. Israel breached that agreement in mid-March in a move that was considered a resumption of all-out war. The Israeli military believes 59 captives remain in Hamas and other militant group captivity. Of those, only 24 are considered to be alive. Meanwhile, on Wednesday, at least 19 Palestinians, including 9 children, were killed in an Israeli strike on a center run by the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees in northern Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said military pressure is the best way to ensure the return of all remaining hostages. Iran has warned that any attack by the U.S. or its allies could push Tehran to pursue nuclear weapons. It's a move that would reverse its long-held stance against developing atomic military capabilities. As tensions in the Middle East escalate and Iran's nuclear capabilities advance amid a U.S. maximum pressure campaign, adversaries in the region and around the world are trying to answer the years-old question: is Iran nearing the nuclear threshold, and what can be done to stop it?
Every time we get closer to a U.S.-Iran deal or to U.S.-Iran negotiations, we see both sides escalating just to get the upper hand when they sit and negotiate on the table.
Here's The National's foreign editor Mohamad Harisi to explain.
Iran has built a vast network of nuclear facilities around the country, above and under the ground. And the main purpose for these nuclear facilities is for civilian usage. Iran has repeatedly said that it is not seeking to develop nuclear weapons, and that there is a fatwa or a religious decree issued by the Ayatollah Khamenei and previously by Ayatollah Khomeini that says that the country shouldn't be pursuing nuclear weapons.
As of early 2025, Iran is operating at an unprecedented level of activity.
The level of enrichment for civilian purposes is maximum 60%. And to reach a level where you can use the enriched uranium for military purposes, it has to be around 90%. Now, Iran is capable to do that. The former U.S. Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, said that Iran, if it decides to enrich uranium by 90%, it can do that in almost 2 weeks, and then it will have the main ingredient to develop a nuclear weapon. Other experts, they say that no, it might take Iran a few months to enrich enough uranium to build enough nuclear heads for its arsenal. For the first time recently and in the last few days, and as the U.S. intensifies its maximum pressure campaign on the country, we're hearing many officials, and especially nuclear or former nuclear negotiators, saying that the country could be pushed into developing nuclear weapons if the nuclear facilities of Iran are attacked.
The U.S. has threatened military action against Iran should it refuse to enter a nuclear deal. Iran has promised retaliation in that case.
It's really, really hard to imagine how it could happen, but maybe it starts with a cyber attack, agents on the ground, and then we see maybe strikes or maybe warships in the sea launching missiles and rockets.
Other Gulf countries have warned that an attack on Iran's nuclear facilities could impact the entire Gulf region.
Let's say, for example, the Bushehr nuclear reactor, which is the closest to the Gulf. If it's attacked, it's going to cause a huge massive disaster in Gulf waters. And Qatar, for example, the Qatari Prime Minister has already warned that the Gulf, for example, or Qatar especially, won't have any water to drink in 3 days. There will be no fish, there will be no food in the sea, there will be no water to turn into drinkable water. So it's going to be a huge catastrophe for the entire region.
The U.S. is sending more forces to the Middle East. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth issued an order to send a second aircraft carrier strike group to the region. The move comes as U.S. forces continue near-daily strikes on Yemen's Houthi rebels. It's a campaign aimed at ending threats to civilian shipping and military vessels in the Red Sea. The USS Carl Vinson will arrive in the region after completing exercises in the Indo-Pacific. That's according to Pentagon spokesman Sean Parnell. Here's Lieutenant General Alexis Grinkovich, Joint Staff Director for Operations, speaking at the Pentagon on March 17th.
While we won't talk about it publicly, just know that there is a design to the operation. There are specific effects that we're trying to achieve, and there are specific targets that have been selected and approaches that we're taking in order to achieve the president's end state. So it isn't that we're just striking capabilities. There's an intent behind every strike and every target that we go after.
The Defense Department is also prolonging the Harry S. Truman carrier strike group's posting in the region. Houthi rebels claim to have attacked U.S. warships 3 times between Tuesday and Wednesday. The presence of 2 U.S. carriers at the same time is a repeated show of force by the Biden administration last year. That's all for this morning's headlines. You can get these stories and follow live updates at our site. Yasmin Altaji, The National.